Hello, welcome to Elizabeth Reads. We have Jemima Small versus the Universe here, and we are almost done. We're so close. We are right now on chapter 44, Optical Illusions. As soon as I woke up the next morning, I remembered the video and felt sick. I sat up in bed and pressed my phone. Miki had messaged me saying, "Don't worry, we'll tell Mr. Nels. He'll sort it out." But that feeling of nausea didn't disappear. It pumped around my veins like venom. I wondered how many people from school would have watched the video by now. I tapped on Lottie's profile and scrolled down the comments. There were some nice ones from some people in my class. Afzal had put, "Go Jem." Jazz had written, "Can't wait, you're so brainy." Aaron said, "Mud challenge was so bad, LOL." But there were some other comments too from people I didn't know. "Whoa, that is vile. Keep running, girl." "That's not healthy." "What? Is this girl on TV in England?" Bleh. LOL, gross. "I hope that's a fitness camp." I could probably have dealt with those ones. They were bad, but if they were arrows, the shield I'd been building over the past few weeks was strong enough to withstand them, I think. But not the one I read next. Her mum should be ashamed. My imaginary shield could have been made of titanium and that arrow would have still got into my heart. And an arrow that sharp is kind of fatal because there's no way you can be on TV with your heart punctured like that. "Jemima," Dad shouted, "you're going to miss the bus." I heard Jasper's voice outside my room shouting at me to hurry up. "Dépêche-toi, Jemima." But I stayed lying in bed. I couldn't face school today. Not now everyone on the planet had seen the video. And the comments. It would probably be on YouTube before lunchtime. I stared up at the ceiling, wishing it had an escape hatch to a different universe. I'd climb out and never come back, because who'd want to stay on a planet where your body should make your mum ashamed of you? I looked over at the revision kit Dad had made and felt myself take a giant breath. I squeezed my eyes shut and pressed my hands on them because I didn't want the pain of it all coming out. There was nowhere I could hide from the truth. I couldn't go on Brainiacs and have my mum feel ashamed of me. The empty space in my heart felt bigger than ever, like a galaxy stretching on for infinity, entirely devoid of stars. Dad opened my door. "Jemima, you're going to be late. Why aren't you out of bed?" "I don't feel very well," I said, turning to face the wall. Dad pressed his hand against my forehead. "You're fine. You haven't got a temperature. You're probably just tired from the camping trip. Come on, you can have an early night tonight." "Lottie's posted a video of me online," I said in short breaths. "A horrible one." Dad did an extra long sigh. "Well, she certainly shouldn't be doing that, but it's not a reason to miss school. Jemima, get up." I tried to hold the tears in, but I couldn't, and they came out in a kind of deluge. "I look so horrible, Dad. People commented really bad things about me being fat and gross." I gulped deep breaths of air as huge tears soaked into my duvet. Dad sat on the edge of my bed and rubbed my back. "Oh, Jem, that's awful," he said gently. "I'm so sorry. It's all right. We'll get it sorted out." I heard Jasper creep in. "What's happened?" "Somebody's posted a video of Jemima online," Dad said. "There's some not very nice comments." "Let's see, Jem." I wiped my eyes and handed Jasper my phone. I watched its light reflected in his eyes. "Geez, that's bad." "Jasper," Dad said, "you're supposed to make her feel better about it. Give me that." Dad took my phone and tapped the screen. "Wow, is that the mud challenge? Look at you go, Jemima. I know you're upset, sweetheart, but I think that's a great video." "Are you actually joking? The whole reason Lottie's put it on there is because it's so bad. She wants people to laugh at me. She even tagged Brainiacs in it. She's trying to ruin my life. Read the comments." Dad scrolled down. He kept grimacing and looking away like he did whenever we watched the World's Deadliest Animals documentaries. "Honestly, do some people not have anything better to do?" He shook his head. "You poor thing. If there's anything that's vile around here, it's those comments. Listen, those people are nasty. Don't listen to a word of it. Do you know how to delete it, Jasper?" "He can't. It's on Lottie's profile," I said, wiping my eyes with the sleeve of my pajamas. "Take screenshots and tell Mr. Nelson," Jasper said. "He'll get it taken down. That Lottie is a Class A." "Thank you, Jasper," Dad said. "For what it's worth, I think you look, what's that word you young people say? Fierce." Jasper snorted as Dad rubbed my shoulder. I thought finally Dad was appalled enough to not send me to school, but he said, Jemima, wash your face, get dressed, and you do what Gina says and hold your head up high. Don't let these people upset you. I'll take you to school in the van. Miki was by the gates when I got to school. I hate Lottie, he said. I've messaged her so many times saying take it down. She's seen them, but not replied. My eyes felt swollen from crying, but I scrolled through the comments again to see if there were any more. Katie K had put, good luck, Jemima. I think she was in year 9. Stop reading the comments, Miki said, taking my phone and zipping it into my rucksack pocket. I'll think of a way to get back at Lottie. I can't wait to see your face when you slay it on Brainiacs. That'll wipe the smile off her ratty face. I stopped walking. Miki, you don't seriously expect me to go on Brainiacs now? What? Miki shouted. A few people by the science block looked over. I'm dropping out. It says in my letter they have reserves. What are you talking about? I started walking again, but Miki grabbed my sleeve. Jemima, what is going through your head right now? You can't drop out. I can't do Brainiacs. Think about what everyone's going to say about me. I swallowed the enormous lump forming in my throat. I can't believe I ever thought it would be okay. I was so stupid. If I go on the show, it would be exactly the same as those comments, but 1,000,000 times worse. Miki followed me up the stairs and along the history corridor, past the display of posters we'd made last year about the Romans. I'd made a Roman mythology family tree. Mr. Nelson had written exceptional at the bottom in green pen and given me a commendation. At the time, I'd felt so pleased. Now, I couldn't believe I thought stuff like that actually mattered. Jemima, Miki said, it's less than 2 weeks until the competition. All the revising you've done. You can't miss out on Brainiacs just because of Lottie Fartman. I won't let you. It's too late, Miki. I've already decided I'm not going on national TV so people can call me gross on YouTube for the rest of my life. I'm going to tell Mrs. Savage at lunch. I stopped outside our form room and looked through the window. Lottie was staring at her phone and Caleb was next to her laughing. My stomach flipped over. Jemima, that's stupid. It's like me dropping out of Mary Poppins because Lottie's in it. I mean, I have to hold her hand. He grinned. I could catch Wheels disease. I laughed, but tears were in my eyes. It's not the same, Miki. You'll be amazing in Mary Poppins and everyone will say you're a brilliant actor and the star of the show. Even if I won the Brainiacs trophy, all people would say is that I'm gross and that my mom should be ashamed of me. I wiped a tear rolling down my face. I didn't even care about the people walking past. Millions of people watch Brainiacs, Miki. Millions. And it will be on YouTube forever. I'll be called Jemima Big forever. Miki hugged me and then got a pack of tissues out of the front pocket of my rucksack where I always kept them. They were the special Brainiacs ones I got in my goodie bag that had lightning bolts on the packet and smelled of bananas. He handed one to me and I dabbed my eyes. Jem, I wouldn't say any of that. I wouldn't think that stuff. Neither would loads of people. He looked like he was telling the truth, but he had been acting a lot lately, so I couldn't be sure. I'll be too busy getting my mind blown with all the weird facts you'll be saying. You'll be the best person on that show. And anyway, I think you rocked those gators. Miki waited outside the toilets while I splashed my face with water. I still had red blotches around my eyes, but he linked my arm on the way into form, and as we sat down, he called Lottie a last weasel's fart in Japanese. And when the bell rang for the end of form, he waited with me while I showed Mr. Nelson Lottie's video. It's called Having the Best Friend in the Whole Entire Universe. I see, Mr. Nelson said, peering at my phone. How long has she been doing this sort of thing to you, Jemima? This bullying? Oh, it's not bullying, I said. She just thinks it's funny to... Then I stopped, because it reminded me of when I saw the bruises on Harry's arm and him dismissing it like it was nothing, like his arm was nothing. I suddenly had no idea why I was defending Lottie Freeman. I took a deep breath and started again. Since the start of year 7. She says stuff to Jemima all the time, sir, Miki said. She blows her cheeks up like this and calls her Jemima Big. She showed everyone in her class that article in the Clifton Echo. She calls her names. Right. Mr. Nelson clicked his mouse a few times. It sounds like Lottie is behaving quite appallingly. Finally, I thought, someone in my life is appalled. I'll escort you to science and have a chat with Lottie. I think it's safe to say she'll be in isolation today and losing all her lunch breaks this week. But we've got rehearsals at lunchtime, sir, Mickey said. She's Mary Poppins. Oh dear, I suppose Lottie will have to learn that unless she starts behaving in a more Mary Poppins-like fashion towards Jemima, the only place she'll be taking on a starring role this term will be isolation. I'll make sure she takes the video down immediately, Jemima. Thank you, sir. Of course, he said. In Roman times, they'd pour molten lead down her throat. That's a bit harsh, sir, I said. You'd better not mention it to Mrs. Savage. And Mr. Nelson's laughter echoed around the classroom. At lunchtime, I walked with Miki to the drama studio. On the way there, a few people had Halloween masks on, even though we'd been told in form time not to dress up. Run, Big, run! Someone wearing a scream mask shouted. Please don't say anything, I said to Miki, so he twirled under my arm and started singing about flying a kite and sending it soaring up through the atmosphere. Probably because he knew I'd have to inform him that it's scientifically impossible to fly a kite up through the atmosphere because for start, you'd need about 8 million balls of string. I finished explaining when we reached the studio and we both smiled. It was the most I'd spoken all day. Miss Nisha said I could come in and watch the rehearsal, but I said maybe tomorrow. I sat on the bench outside the drama block, flicking through the screenshots I'd taken of Lottie's post. It had disappeared from her profile, which meant the comments had gone too. Not completely, though. They were still branded onto my memory, probably forever. I was about to walk to Mrs. Savage's office when I spotted Gina coming towards me. I've been looking for you everywhere, she said. Mrs. Savage has asked me to do some brain training with you. Mrs. Savage is trying to ruin my life. Gina laughed like she thought I was joking. Brain training for what? For Brainiacs, silly. She wants me to teach you some competition strategies to give you the edge. Just between you and me, I think. But Mrs. Savage might have a competitive streak. But isn't it fantastic news? What's wrong? I really did not want to tell Gina, but my mouth opened involuntarily and I blurted it all out. I watched her study the screenshots on my phone. You want to know what I see when I look at this? She said eventually. I see a girl who didn't want to do the mud challenge. A girl who didn't think she could do it. So she sat on a tree stump and gave up. But this girl got back on her feet, ran up that hill, and crossed the finish line with her head held high. I look at this and I see a girl who is strong, determined, and clever. A girl with a warrior inside her heart. I know that warrior is in there, Jemima, because I have seen her for herself. I see a girl who is pretty exceptional, actually. And you know what else? If your mom watches Brainiacs, I think that's what she will see too. I took back my phone and looked at the screenshots again. Gina told me it was like one of those optical illusions where people looked at the same picture, but they saw different things. She said maybe my life would always be like that. Some people seeing Jemima big, some people seeing Jemima small. She said the thing that mattered most was what I saw. My heart thumped like there was a warrior in there trying to get out. Now, Gina said, are you ready to do some brain training? Because that Brainiacs trophy isn't going to win itself. That's the end of that chapter. Make sure to subscribe so you know when the next chapter comes out. And we will finish this book in the next week or so. Bye-bye.